Good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you all very much for being here. We want to first of all thank Congresswoman Michelle Lujan Grisham, the chairwoman of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, who is our host here today for this event. She has been tireless in her advocacy, championing a permanent and urgent solution for Dreamers. She couldn't be here today because she is in fact in a meeting about this very issue, and so that's good news, because as long as members of Congress are speaking to each other about how to solve this problem, then we have hope that we can find this permanent solution. I'm Luis Caldera. I am here on behalf of a newly formed organization, the President's Alliance on Higher Education and Immigration. This is a broad alliance of university chancellors and presidents who have come together advocating for solutions that can connect immigration policy to the needs of our higher education institutions, our students and communities, and indeed to the economic prosperity and future of our nation. I'm pleased to be joined here today by my colleague, Dr. Miriam Feldblum, who is also one of the leaders in having organized this President's Alliance. We are thrilled to have two members of Congress who are here with us today. Representative Lou Correa of the 46th District of California. He is a very experienced public servant, having served in the legislature, in the state assembly, and the state senate, as well as a supervisor for Orange County, California. He is a graduate of California State University Fullerton and holds an MBA from UCLA. We also have with us Representative Darren Soto of Florida's 9th Congressional District. He is an attorney who, among other, was a member of the state legislature for a decade in Florida, and among other legislations made it possible for Dreamers to be licensed attorneys in Florida, which is one of the issues that we're actually frankly dealing with, that immigration issues are not just federal issues, they are also often state issues of things like licensure that allow these individuals to not only reach their full potential, but then to be able to have careers in which they're supporting their community, our nation, and making it stronger. So at this time, I'd like to ask Representative Lou Correa to speak first, and then we'll hear from Representative Darren Soto.
Thank you very much, Senor Caldera. I'm Congressman Lou Correa, Orange County, California. Very interesting times we are living in today, and I want to thank all of you for being here today and for being part of the legislative process. I'm a Californian, proud Californian, and today California is the 5th largest economy in the world. I think it's the 4th, but we'll accept the 5th largest economy. And we have this very interesting issue of states' rights versus federal rights. And in California, as you know, we're very progressive when it comes to immigration. We passed the Dream Act, Trust Act, driver's licenses, and I think as a state, we've done everything we have been able to do to normalize immigration, because we know immigration is not only part of our fabric, but part of our history, our culture, and part of our economic might. We have the same issue when it comes to cannabis. As you know, California just legalized cannabis for recreational use, joining an array of other states that have gone in that path. So again, states' rights versus federal rights. Today we're here to talk about DACA, our students, our dreamers. And I'm glad you're here because we have to put a human face to this issue. About 6 months ago I came home and my daughter greeted me. She's 17 years old, said, Dad, I have a couple of my friends here from high school want to talk to you. They have issues, they're very concerned, and it turned out they were both dreamers, very nervous, very concerned, and wanted to ask me how I could help them. Wanted to ask me how I could ensure a legal framework for them so they wouldn't have any issues of deportation. I was sad that the only answer I could give those two young ladies was, stay the course, work hard, don't give up on the promise, let me fight the fight in Washington, you keep being a good student, a good citizen. And these dreamers are good citizens. They work hard, follow the laws, study hard. They're essentially the ideal immigrant that we want in this country. And so it's really interesting that despite all the facts, despite the fact that 70–80% of Democrats and Republicans agree that Dreamers should have a pathway to citizenship, despite the fact that most of the legislators, there are probably 300 votes in the House today that would probably vote for Dreamers, depending on how you put it together, that we just can't get there. And that's where you come in, so important, so key to this process, which is don't let up on the efforts to let folks know that we need this to happen. We're 2 days away from a possible government shutdown. As Democrats, or just as let me speak as myself as an individual, I'm here for strong border security. I'm here for strong national defense. I'm here for children's health care in the form of CHIP. And I'm also here for Dreamers. Okay? And a lot of us here feel the same way, so why can't we do something? We're sent to Washington to work. We're sent to Washington to come up with a solution. We have to do it. So thank you for being here. We need your voices to be here loud, really loud right now, respectfully, constructively. We had a meeting this morning with Secretary Kelly, now Chief of Staff to the President Kelly. Constructive meeting, because the other meetings we've had have been very, let me just say, energetic. This one was very processed. The sad part was we didn't hear any concrete solutions. Let's keep working on it. Thank you very much for your time and interest. And I'll tell you, Mr. Darren Soto, a great man from the second best state in the union, the state of Florida. Thank you very much.
Greetings from the other Orange County, as well as Cook County and Osceola County. First, I want to thank President Caldera for being here today. I also want to greet so many good friends from Southeastern University. We have our president, Ken Engel, as well as Dreamers from that area. I have the honor of representing Polk County, where Southeastern is located. In Florida, we have 92,000 potential Dreamers, a staggering number. But it's no surprise for those of us who are residents of the Sunshine State, because we pride ourselves on our diversity, from Pensacola down to the Keys. And as I've met with so many of these inspiring young people, the first term that comes to mind is they're ambitious. They're striving to pursue higher education, to become doctors and lawyers and professionals, and they're starting small businesses. They're serving in our military. That's why it's so important that the President's Alliance is here today, because you are the caretakers of that pathway, and saying that these doors need to remain open for the opportunity for Dreamers is absolutely critical in this debate. In Florida, we've had our own debates over issues related to rights for Dreamers. We passed that opportunity alive, that American dream alive. And with DACA set to expire, the time for action is now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not waiting till the end of February or to March. And let us not talk about shutdowns, but rather about solutions. Dreamers, TPS, border security, CHIP, community health centers, recovery for Puerto Rico, my family's native island, and Virgin Islands. We can do all of this if we're all willing to prioritize, and yes, maybe make a few small sacrifices, but not to our Dreamers and not to keeping the dream alive. Let's show the American people the very best of what we are here in Congress, what we are in the Senate and in the White House. Let's make history together, and let's get a bill on the Senate floor. They're working on a bipartisan compromise. Let's bring it over to the House, and let's have a vote. And then I challenge President Trump to sign that bill. He'll probably have some stuff that he likes. He'll probably have some stuff that he doesn't like, but you know, that's what our forefathers intended, that we're going to have to compromise to take advantage of this generational opportunity. I want to briefly also deliver an address in Spanish for those of our Spanish media here. Gracias al Presidente Caldera y de todos los presidentes y los Dreamers, quien está aquí en Washington. y especialmente bienvenidos a nuestros amigos de Southeastern University, incluyendo Presidente Kentingo. En Florida, nosotros tenemos 92,000 soñadores, 1,000 dreamers. Ellos son muy ambiciosos. Ellos están tratando para asistir colegio y para empezar empresarios y para estar en nuestra militaria. Y esta es exactamente la razón, está muy importante por los presidentes de la Alianza de Presidentes estar aquí. Porque ustedes están, las personas, guardando la puerta de oportunidad. En Florida nosotros tenemos muchos asuntos de los Dreamers que nosotros pasaron. Primero, tuición en estado, que está más barato por los Dreamers. También yo endorsé y pasé un proyecto de ley que admite Dreamers al Florida Bar. Este es muy importante para tener abogados quien puede defender los derechos de inmigrantes. Y con DACA hay un potencial de determinación muy pronto, en marzo, y el tiempo por acción está ahora. El tiempo por acción está ahora. Nosotros necesitamos hablar sobre soluciones, no sobre apagando el gobierno, por los Dreamers, por TPS, por seguridad de la frontera, por CHIP, el salud de niños, por centros de salud por nuestras comunidades y recuperación por Puerto Rico y Virgin Islands. Nosotros podemos demostrar la mejor de Congreso y el Senado y nosotros podemos hacer historia juntos. Gracias a todos por asistiendo hoy. Ustedes están gritando mucho.
Thank you very much, Congressman Correa and Congressman Soto. I want to say a few words about the President's Alliance before I ask our next speakers to address you. Today, we formed this alliance very recently, in December, and we formed it as a single-issue alliance because of the tremendous impact that immigration policy has on our colleges and universities. It's impacting students, it's impacting the communities that our colleges and universities serve, it's impacting members of our workforce who are undocumented themselves or have family members who are undocumented. And it impacts our country. Immigration impacts our country, the character of our country, its prosperity, its future. And recognizing these tremendous impacts of immigration policies, presidents came together to say we need to bring our voices to address these policy issues, to help inform them, to help educate the public, to help talk to our members of Congress and talk to them about what's at stake for our campuses, communities, students, and nation with respect to these immigration issues. Although we were only recently formed, we already have 234 presidents from 33 different states in the District of Columbia who have become members, who are using their voices to help inform this public policy discussion that we're currently having. These issues of immigration are not just issues related to Dreamers, they're also issues related to undocumented students who are not Dreamers, and issues related to international students. But today our focus is on Dreamers because of the urgent need to ask Congress to pass a legislative solution for Dreamers. Today we have a number of presidents and representatives of our colleges and universities, of those 234 colleges and universities, including the Chancellor of the University of California, Merced, will be speaking in a minute, the President of DePauw University, the President of Trinity Washington University, the President of Southeastern University, the President of Guilford College, the President of Nevada State College, and the President of the TCS Education System. We're also going to hear from one of those Dreamers. But these presidents and their students will be doing office visits this afternoon, bringing that message to their representatives, to our representatives in Congress, urging them to act now to solve this problem because it's an urgent one that needs to be addressed as soon as possible. It's now my pleasure to introduce one of the founders of our organization. Even before we had a President's Alliance, we had a steering committee that called for the creation of the President's Alliance. Chancellor Dorothy Leland of the University of California at Merced was on that initial steering committee and has been a steadfast supporter and voice for this legislative solution on behalf of Dreamers. It's now my honor to introduce her to you.
Thank you. So we're going to sound like a broken record up here, but some things we can't repeat enough. The repeal of DACA has created a dire situation for Dreamers across the country. These young people live with fear, not only for their own futures, but also for their families and their friends. And as leaders in higher education, we see firsthand the incredible potential Dreamers have to make positive impact on their communities and our economy. And we strongly endorse a permanent legislative solution for Dreamers who are at really critical and important points in their lives. Now, at my campus, University of California, Merced, nearly 600 undocumented students have been busy all year with their studies, despite living under a cloud of fear that their lives and families could be uprooted at any moment. One of them, Bo Menduwala, just wave your hands. She's here with me today, and she's a PhD student. She's married to a U.S. citizen, and she's doing amazing, potentially groundbreaking work in her field of physics on solar energy. Her bravery and the bravery of so many others like her, including the dedicated, motivated, and successful students here with us today, is an inspiration to me and a testament to the indomitable spirit that truly makes America great. The fate of DACA is not a reality show for Dreamers, such as Bo. Their lives and futures are at stake. Like so many other immigrants, these students are good people. They are hardworking, respectful young people who just want to create a better lives for themselves and their families. They should not be treated as political poker chips, tokens to be wagered or bartered in exchange for legislative favors. Already, more than 14,000 Dreamers have lost their work permits and protection from deportation. And the number of young people losing DACA protections will rise dramatically after January 19th, the date funding for the government runs out. This is not the future our students deserve. It's time, now, to put politics aside and protect the American dream for these amazing young people. To continue to cause the pain and fear that has been injected into the lives of Dreamers who call this nation their home is unconscionable. So, to college and university leaders who've not yet joined the Alliance, I call on you. Please join us in advocating for a permanent solution for Dreamers, and more generally, for welcoming immigration policies that protect and support our students from across the globe. Education starts with a dream, hence our button. And so we're starting with the Dreamers, but as an Alliance, we also have more work to do. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Chancellor Leland. We're reminded by the Chancellor's comments that when we work to protect Dreamers, we're not just protecting them, we're doing it to better our country and in the interest of our country, because these are young people with talent we don't want to lose. These are young people who we've invested in through their primary school education, their public education, who are hardworking, working hard, have talent, want to seize the opportunities. You've heard about one of them today, a PhD student. You'll now hear from another. Ana Munoz came to the United States as a 2-year-old. Well, she was brought as a 2-year-old. By parents who wanted her to have a better life and wanted to protect her from a dangerous situation. She's currently a junior at DePauw University in Indiana, majoring in neuroscience with a minor in biochemistry and French. Ana.
So So before I start, I want to say thank you to the President's Alliance and Forward for allowing me to speak today. I am very humbled and honored and so grateful to be here. The most critical part of my story happened before I was born. My mother gave birth to me in Mexico, not knowing that 2 years later we would pack a bag and move to the U.S. My family witnessed chaos. My family witnessed fear. And then there was me. A 2-year-old story begins as an immigrant in this country. No one leaves their home without a reason. I cannot talk about my story without mentioning my parents, the original dreamers who gave up their own hopes and dreams so that I could pursue my own. My parents have been together since they were 15 years old. My parents are generous, resilient, and loving. They went to college, however, due to language barriers and fear, they took any job available when we first got to America. That meant my college-educated mother served burgers, and my college-educated father served milkshakes. My parents mean the world to me because they embodied what it means to be resilient and generous in the face of adversity. I owe everything to their sacrifices. I realized what it meant to be undocumented in this country when I was in high school. My father simply told me, college is not an option unless I got a scholarship. At the time, and still today, undocumented students do not qualify for federal financial aid. At 14, I became consumed by my grades, got involved in sports, or at least tried to, but I quickly realized I was not athletic, joined a youth group, and worked after school to save money. I quickly learned that there was a lot in my life that I could not control. However, being a good student was the one thing I had to stay in. I knew I had to work harder than many of my counterparts, who often took education for granted. Today, I am eternally grateful for my counselor who nominated me for the Leland Endowment Scholarship that now funds my education at DePauw University. I am a junior, majoring in neuroscience with a minor in French and biochemistry. My dream is to become a physician who opens a free clinic because growing up, I did not have access to healthcare, so I attended these free clinics. Today, I am more open-minded and passionate thanks to my professors and peers at DePauw University who challenged me to ask the difficult questions and to realize that every single person has a story worth hearing. Today I am here on Capitol Hill to share my own story to lawmakers in hopes that they truly listen. Nonetheless, I consider myself extremely lucky to be where I am today given the circumstances. My story could have easily been different had one thing in my life gone differently. There are many stories like mine, but I want to recognize that there are also thousands of stories of dreamers who haven't had the same opportunities for reasons out of their control. Their stories are equally important as mine and just as worthy of your consideration. Although being a dreamer has created barriers for me along the way and continues to do so, I am very appreciative of these obstacles because they truly have made me who I am today. I am grateful for President McCoy, who brought me here today. I am grateful for every single person in this room, listening and watching, and I am grateful that dreamers are not the only ones fighting in this battle and not the only ones advocating for our futures in this country. Personally, I always think back to a simple truth. We are all humans. Dreamers and citizens alike are capable of feeling pain, showing compassion, and setting goals which may mean failing or succeeding, but always dreaming. This country is my home, and I feel blessed to say so. My life as a DACA recipient should not be used as a bargaining chip. I believe permanent legislation to protect dreamers is just a first step in the right direction. Our immigration system is broken and complex. I hope Congress will look toward comprehensive reform in the near future. But right now, today, we need Congress to pass a law so that dreamers like myself and everyone in this room can continue building our lives and our dreams in this country we call our home. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor Leland, and thank you, Anna, for your inspiring words. You make us very proud. Before we close, we want to just reemphasize we are calling on Congress to solve this problem today, not to make it too complex. We need to do one thing, protect dreamers and undo what was done when DACA was rescinded. We are calling on all our member presidents and those who couldn't be here today, are doing it through telephone calls and in other ways, reaching out to their members of Congress to ask them to please solve this problem, solve it urgently. Let's solve it this week. This is just one of many issues, but a critically important one that we are going to work on. We thank all those presidents who've made this a priority. We're going to take questions a little bit, but before we do, I'd like to invite all the presidents and dreamers who are here to please come up so that we can take a picture, and then we can take the questions up here if anyone wants to come forward after that. Thank you all again for being here today.